Hey, everybody. This is Jamie Stillman with Team Stillman Mortgage and also, obviously, Give Life for Ryan. We're in the studio today, and we actually have a really special guest that made the trip down from Kentucky today to be with us, and that is actually my sister. I'm really glad to have her here and let her tell a little bit about what she's doing and a little bit about her story and some of the things that we've shared over the years, not just as siblings, but some of the things that we've had to go through, unfortunately, together and separately. So just want to, as always, give people something to listen to, something to ask about, something to know that you're not alone. You're not the only person that's ever had to go through stuff. Grief and everything like that is different for everyone, but there are people out there that have gone through similar things, and I want people to know that there are people they can reach out to, people they can call, people you can Facebook message, and at least just hear from someone else who has to go through something like that. So, Janice, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
Of course. So tell everybody a little bit about kind of what you do, where you're at, family, all that kind of the bio stuff, as we call it. Yeah.
I live in Franklin, Kentucky. I am a manager at a convenience store in Russellville, Kentucky. I have two beautiful girls. One is an angel, and the other one is fixing to be a senior in high school.
Wow.
And I have a gorgeous stepson, too. Sorry. Don't let me forget him.
And I think maybe a husband.
I do have a husband,
okay, yeah. I think he gets a little
Most days I claim him.
Okay, good. So, first of all, the thing that jumps out to me is like a senior next year. So what does that feel like?
Crazy. Yeah. Like that baby Bella is a senior. Bella's always been baby Bella in the family, and now she's fixing to be a senior in high school. And like, that's crazy.
It's so fast. Fast.
Way too fast. And Mom and Dad always told us it goes by fast. And it's like, oh, these are the worst years ever. I just want to get through them. And it's, you blinked and it's gone.
Yeah, I was telling somebody that yesterday at a closing. I was like, because they had little kids, and I was like, and trust me, all the people that are telling you it goes by fast, they're right.
Yep.
But then the guy that was doing the closing was also a grandfather, and he said, and then you have grandkids, and you have no idea how fast time is.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at now, is just like, oh my gosh, like I thought my kids grew up quick. Like the grandkids are growing so fast that I'm just like, where does time go? It's kind of weird. Like you don't believe it until it happens to you.
It's crazy.
But it's really fast. So has she got big plans going into senior year, or just getting through senior year like most kids do?
She's done all of her classes. Yeah. She's got 4 periods where she's just going to be a TA. Just kind of breeze through senior year.
That's what
so
senior year
that'll be
nice.
Should
be. Every single one of our kids, before they graduated high school, we used to joke because like they have all different personalities, and some of them were like really into school. I had one that only went to school so he could play baseball. I had another one who only went to school to question authority and why they did things the way they did and all that kind of stuff. But every single one of them, the second semester of school of the last year, had real bad senioritis. Like even Gabby, who was like all into academics and scholars, like halfway through that last year, she's just like, I don't know why I'm going to school.
I just want to be done.
We're not doing nothing.
Yep.
It's like, we're just done. Why do they keep us here for this last 6 months or whatever? Yep. So I think senior year is really hard only in that aspect, not from the work, but just they're like, I want to go do whatever I'm going to do. If I'm going to get a job, I want to start. If I'm going to college, I want to go start. If I'm going to, they just want to like do it. They're just like tired of high school.
And that's Bella is, she's going to WKU. She's going to be a Hilltopper.
Okay.
So cool. It being that close to us, she's like, I just want it done. Yeah. I just want to go there and get it started and get on with my life and be done with high school.
Yeah. She know what she wants to major in yet?
She's tossing some things around, so we will see.
It'll probably change 10 times.
Well, she's stuck with this one. She wants to be a mortician.
Really? Okay.
She does. Embalming and
that's a different
doing makeup.
Yeah.
It is.
Different career, but a very much needed career.
It's very lucrative. We didn't, looking into things, we didn't realize that's a very good career.
And it just popped in my head because I've talked to a lot of people about this lately on here and in different places. AI is not coming for that job.
Yeah, exactly. they can't do that.
They can't do that. So that's
true.
Thinking about the future and what kids should get into, and people talk about trades and different things like that. I mean, that's something that there's going to be a person to handle that, at least for the next 50 or 60 years, I think. Maybe at some point a robot will be able to do that, but I don't know. That's interesting.
She wants to minor in graphic designs.
Okay.
She wants to design video games on the side.
On the side. Okay. Yeah. She's got some big goals,
she
as
does.
usual.
She does.
As usual. I'm surprised she's even got to go this last year. I'm surprised she didn't graduate early or something, but
she's crazy.
That's really cool. So I know, not just to jump right into everything, but I know you mentioned, your other daughter, that's an angel.
Sabrina.
Sabrina. So for those people that don't know you or don't know me, tell us just a little bit about her.
March 3rd of 2024, she passed away. And, gosh,
It's okay.
very unexpectedly, we got a phone call on March 1st, and we got to the hospital, and she ended up passing away on March 3rd.
Okay.
She was just full of life, fun to be around, sassy attitude, as usual. I mean, she'd give you 2 what for, but she really was just full of smiles and full of life.
So, very unexpected, like you said, and most people, thankfully, have never had to get that phone call or know,
Right.
Know what that feels like. But how were you even able to kind of get through that? Who did you lean on, or how were you able to even show up and figure out what to do besides you're a mom, and of course you go running when your kid needs you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. I mean, I leaned a lot on my husband, and I leaned a lot on you because you understood that loss of a child. You know what it's like to navigate and get through that. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess the only reason I still keep going is because of Bella.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I don't want anything to happen to her, and I want her to know that it's okay to go through those motions. And it's okay to deal with things.
Yeah.
So.
That makes sense. So tell me a little bit about Sabrina, who she was, who she still is up there, but, a little bit of before that date, who was Sabrina? What was she into?
She loved, she was a waxer. And
Okay.
she loved it. Like, she loved it. She truly, honestly, enjoyed it. And she worked as a part-time bartender. And she just loved being the life of the party. Loved being involved with anything and everything. She never met a stranger. Talked to anybody and everybody about everything. So, very loving and caring.
Grew up in this area because
did.
we're in Nashville right now, but
We lived in Jacksonville for 11 years and then came back home to Nashville where we were born and raised. And she grew up here. She lived in West Nashville and worked over there for years.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned waxing, so she's an esthetician.
Yeah.
And so, growing up, I remember, middle school and all that kind of stuff, doing cheer and having big groups of friends and, she was very social.
She was very social. She never met a stranger, and everywhere she went, she loved being involved in anything and everything. Like if you could call her that night, hey, what are you doing? Okay, I'll come. Let's go. She wanted to go out and do everything, party and live life.
Yeah, just hang out and have fun. And
she did that a lot.
Yeah.
Because of Ryan.
Yeah.
Because he lived life so full, and we lost him. And I don't know if you remember, she wrote a Facebook post about him. And that's one thing she promised, is that she would always live her life to the fullest, live more like Ryan, is what she said, just to go out there and enjoy it.
Yeah.
What's the point of not enjoying it?
Yeah. I think that had a large impact, influence on all of my kids, obviously, and lots of his friends. And it's one of the things I usually tell people, like, I envied or admired, especially remembering Ryan in that way, is I've always been pretty reserved and always thought about calculating my moves and 5-year plans for kids and that kind of stuff. Like, what are you going to be doing in 5 years? Or when you do a job interview. And I kind of joke, Ryan had a 5-minute plan. It was like, what are we going to do? And he used to say things all the time like, do it today, man. We're not promised tomorrow.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know how as a teenager to say that, but it's just kind of crazy. So I look back and I mean, one of his friends is living in Colorado now, another one in California, another one in North Carolina. And it's just like they've just all flourished and gone to check out different places and do different things. And every time they reach out to me or say something, and I'll get like a message that's like, hey, like, a photo one time from like the side of a mountain, and they're like, hey man, I'm just doing this and remembering Ryan, just like doing stuff, like you said, living life to the fullest, because we don't know. And I don't think, it's great that we have to lose somebody in our life to realize that, but the impact is there for a long time to come from when you lose somebody.
Yeah.
I hear stories, and I'm sure you have. As a parent, you kind of think you know your kid really well, but I'm sure people have told you over time some stories about Sabrina that you had never heard before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And different people she influenced, different people she was friends with that you might not have realized how good of a friend she was, or things that she did for them out of that time.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's really great. So, going through, and not to relive everything that you went through,
okay.
but what, besides just the fact of trying to imagine what it's like to lose a child, what are some of the things that you faced, when you lost Sabrina, that you really weren't expecting, that were really hard to get through, besides just, this is really hard grief, emotion?
Besides in the moment when everything happened, it was when life happens and I just want to call her, and you pick up the phone and you're like,
yeah,
I can't call her.
You want to share something.
I do. Like Bella's prom.
Mm-hmm.
Her very first time Sabrina passed away before prom.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, just send her picture to her sister so she could see her at prom.
Yeah.
I think that's the hardest thing to get through is, not being able to pick up that phone.
Yeah. The milestones.
Yeah.
The milestones are so hard.
Because you take for granted talking every day in life and texting. And it's like, okay, you text each other, but those milestones, like you said, it's,
Yeah, that's when me and Stacy talk about a lot. Like, Jordan just turned 30, and Nick had turned 30 last year. And for some reason, that birthday, like, we lost Ryan at 21, but like that 30 was just like, it created so much emotion inside me that I had another reminder that he'll never be here.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that birthday is so big for some reason. Like, I don't know, as a parent, it's like 30. That's like when they're full grown. I mean, they are at 25, right? But
yeah.
It was just like a 30-year-old, and I had so much trouble processing that. Like, one hand, I was like so excited that we were celebrating Nick's birthday and he's 30, but then quietly, aside from that, I had a time when I was just like totally broken. I was just like, never get to experience that with Ryan. And then we have we have grandkids, so he would be an uncle. And we have, one of his friends has a baby. And I'm just like, that's so awesome. And then I immediately go, I wonder if he would have kids now. I wonder if he'd be married now.
Yeah.
And those are just ongoing, I think, some of the hardest things to deal with, because I feel like there's nowhere to go with that. Like, obviously you have Ben, I have Stacy, we can talk to them about that, but publicly I can't go, hey, congratulations. And I want to talk about if Ryan would be here or
right,
not.
Right.
So you can't ruin that moment.
Because then you feel like a jerk in that moment. You're not like, taking that spotlight away from them.
Yeah, this is their moment.
Yeah.
But you have all this emotion built up with it of like, I just want to know, I just want to see my kid, and I want to know, would they be doing this? Would I get, I
want to see my kid's kid, and I want to hold them.
Yeah.
And I want to experience that with them.
Yeah. I want to know how they would be handling it. I want to know if, would we see them at that event that everybody's going to? So, yeah, that part of it is something I think a lot of people don't think about when you hear, like, I had people tell me when Ryan passed away, and it was a couple months after, but still, people don't know the things to say.
Right.
And I'm sure I screw up sometimes, but I try to share what I can. People would say, well, you've got 5 other kids.
So what?
And I'm like, what? I can't believe someone said that to me. Like, okay, so you have 4 kids. Pick which one you'd like to be without, and you'll move on with the other 3.
And that's what I say with people who say stuff like that is, be glad that you've never had to feel that kind of grief. Yeah. That you don't know what it feels like to go through that. Be happy that you'll say the wrong thing. Right. Because you don't know where what it feels like to be on this side of it. Right. That's a really good point, because that's, you have to move on, or you have to pull yourself together. And I mean, I say every time I talk to somebody that's been through a lot of grief, people always bring up, there's the phrase that time heals all wounds. No, it doesn't. Which it does not at all. It doesn't heal a single thing at all. Not a damn thing. Nope. It changes. You may hold yourself together for longer periods of time at a certain thing, but it doesn't heal anything. That feeling is there all the time. And I think it's so hard for people to understand, and thank goodness that they don't understand when you go through something like that. Like that, your kid is on your mind literally every day of everything that you do. Mm-hmm. And you have this real twisted feeling inside you, because you're thinking about it so much, and you're thinking about it with every decision you make, but the world
doesn't want to hear about every single thing you're
Right.
thinking, or
Yeah.
at least that's how I feel inside. Like, I
Right.
can't talk about this all the time, or people are going to get, bummed out or drift away from me because they don't know how to handle it. So
Yeah.
there's like this constant turning inside to where I'm like, I can't get it out of my head. I can't go, wow. And it doesn't, I don't mean to sound grim, and I hope I don't, but like, I think there's days that go by, like we both lost our parents way too young.
Yeah,
I mean, 56 and
did.
65 is way too young. But there are days that I get caught up in what's going on, and I'm not necessarily thinking about every decision that Dad made in his life.
Right.
I mean, even though he died young, he still passed away before me.
But you still think
there's
about you do
something.
with your kid.
Yeah.
It's constantly
Yeah.
there. Like
That thought is
and I think
always
it's that
there.
whole thing. You bury your parents. That
Yeah.
is one thing in life that is usually a given. Is
Yeah.
that's what happens in
Sure.
life. But you don't bury your children.
Right. Right.
That's I think my hardest thing with that
Yeah.
is you don't bury your children.
Yeah. And I think that's
Parents,
what's so hard.
grandparents, you're expected through life that
Yeah.
those losses are going to happen.
Even if it's too soon.
Right.
Even if they should have been
Right.
older,
Right.
they're your parents. You expect to lose them
Right.
at some point.
You
You
don't a
don't
child.
expect. Yeah.
My hardest thing with that is people say you've changed
Mhm.
since losing a child. You're right.
Yeah.
You do change completely. Everything changes. And
Yeah.
that's one thing that a lot of people don't understand.
Is you can't go back.
You can't. Exactly. You're
You
not
cannot.
who you were before that loss, no matter what.
And you never will be.
Right.
I have to give Stacy a lot of credit because even though I'm out here promoting this, I probably have not done the full amount of time I need to do in counseling with grief. I've tried a little bit and done some group stuff, and we just joined our church, which I'm really excited about because I feel really close to some of the men in there. I feel like I may be able to open up a little bit more and work on things even after 10 years. But I have to give Stacy some credit. Kind of have to give her a shout out because she was one of the first people that sat down and kind of talked to me about that. Mostly because she had to live it.
Yeah.
She would come to me and just talk about things, and she would look at pictures and different stuff, and she would say, "Man, I miss that Jamie." And we would just kind of talk, but not really get to the deep part of it. We really started talking about it deeply, and now she's the one who came to me and said, "I know that person doesn't exist anymore. I know that's, I'm never going to have that person again." And I think I learned through that's where a lot of people go. The divorce rate skyrockets
Right.
for people that lose a child.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's part of it is you marry the person and then we go through something like that. We become somebody different. And even if it's not drastically different, it changes us forever.
It does.
Cause she would say that smile. I haven't seen that smile since before Ryan. And I'm like, I'm not trying to not
Right.
give
It's
that
just
smile.
it's like
It just-
you can't.
It just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I think, not a psychiatrist, but I think that's one of those big keys to that statistic is they're not married to the person they were married to
Right.
anymore. Even if it's the mom and dad that had the child or whatever, I just think it causes so much. And you hear about that, step families, everything, that it just tears them apart. And I think that's one of the keys is trying to figure out not how do we get through this as we are, how do we get through this with the people that we are now?
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
When everything happened with Sabrina, Ben and I were just dating. We were just boyfriend and girlfriend, so
Wow.
to speak. And, how is this loss going to hit with us?
Yeah.
Not being married, not being, and you're committed, but, it's like, are we going to be able to get through this? And,
Yeah.
I mean, I have to give him credit. He's like, we're getting through this one way or another. And, you do, but it causes problems.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to figure out how to help me. And there's nothing really that anybody can do to help you. And you just kind of shut down and, introvert into yourself
Oh, yeah.
sometimes. And I call them bed days.
Mm-hmm.
There's some days where I'm like, I just can't do anything.
Yeah.
I'm staying in this bed and I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. This is where I need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you have to have somebody that supports you too through that, I will say. Like I know Stacy did you and everything.
And I mean, you do. You have to have somebody there to support you, or it will drive you insane. It will drive you into depths of grief that you can't come back out of.
Yep.
All the horror stories that people hear. And I mean, I've told the story many times. We had some people step up in our life that were not family that I really learned were like incredibly true friends that I didn't realize they were that good of friends.
Yeah.
I mean, they were friends. They were ball field friends and that kind of stuff. But man, we learned, and Gabby's best friend, Emily, has a place in our family now like nobody else ever
Forever.
will. I mean, so like you said, it takes some support, but you usually have some people. Did you have people step up during that time
I
that
did.
just stayed there for you? And,
Like unexpectedly, like you were saying, I had a couple of coworkers, and it's like, we talked at work and here and there and everything. And when everything happened, it was just, they were right there, not even a question. And yeah, they're family now forever.
Was there anything? So I talked about the hard side of things that people say that are dumb or they don't know any better. Was there anything that anybody did or said early when you were going through the process that really impacted you and helped, you take those next steps towards anything?
Probably so, but
Yeah.
not that I can think of at the moment. It's like I'm sitting here going through my Rolodex in my head, and I've got so many different thoughts that I can't think of something now.
I have the same thing. Like I remember the first 2 months or so, I can't remember really any kind of thoughts that I had.
Yeah.
I remember looking back some of the people that were there and that Stacy told me, were there and there, but I don't. I have a couple months where it's really blurry.
I had you just made me think of that, and very unexpected person who was there for me was my ex-husband's ex-wife. We absolutely did not get along, didn't conversate, we were civil to each other, and I called her to let her know Sabrina was in the hospital, and without a question, she showed up at the hospital.
Wow.
She was the last one to leave. She showed up anytime, every time that I've ever needed her, and she still calls and checks on me and Bella now, and saying that, that was very unexpected.
Yeah.
And we, through tragedy, friendships happen and things happen, and it was just, that's what it just brought to mind is her, because you would have never have thought it in a million years.
Exactly what I mean. I mean, Emily at the time was 18 years old. She was just Gabby's best friend. They cheered together, did everything together, and she stayed the night, a couple nights after it happened, and then we kind of looked around and we're like, your parents are probably expecting you home, and she looked at us at 18 and was just like, I'm not going anywhere until Gabby says she's okay or y'all say I have to leave. I'm here. Yeah. And she spent almost the whole summer with us. I mean, we picked up the last little bit of baseball that we had to finish before Baylor went to college, and she went on trips with us for 3 and 4 days, and she was just there. Right. And it was more than just, hey, a friend's hanging out with us. She was checking on Gabby, checking on Stacy, checking on me, checking on Willa.
Know y'all were okay.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, she was just like, I know everybody can't be here in this way, but I can. Right. And again, I don't know how she knew that at such a young age. She is really smart. She works for like NASA program or something now. So maybe that's why. She's a pretty bright girl. But she just knew, like, and it wasn't anything that she's like, I'm going to counsel you. And she was just there. Like you said, if you needed something, you knew she was there. Right. And that's what's different. One of the hardest things, I think about it when I go to funerals now, which those are really hard. Mm-hmm. Funerals were hard before, but I had somebody tell me a long time ago that people really need you at funerals and weddings.
They do. I agree with that.
I've heard that, if your life's busy and everything's going on and you're like, I can't be at this party, I can't be at that, someone invites you to their wedding or their funeral, or you know the person, rather nobody gets invited to a funeral. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Show up. Show that support.
Show up for those times, and those are things people will never forget. And so when I go to one now, it's can't get out of my thought. Like I said, every day I think about my experience with Ryan and how it affected me and how my thoughts are. And so every time I'm there, I always think, I'm glad all these people are here, and whoever's hurting the most, whether it's somebody that's lost their spouse or their kid or their parent, they're going to have all these people love around them for a couple days, maybe a week, and then everybody goes back to their life.
And you never do.
And that's where you're sitting with all the grief. And when people talk about advice for people that are going through things, what you just said is the thing. Check back on them. Yeah. Check back on them weeks after it's happened, because, our world is even crazier and busier now than it's ever been.
It is.
And so everybody's got work commitments, and it's almost summer, so everybody's got ball games and vacations, and you can't expect your neighbors to stop and grieve with you for a month.
Right.
But if they can check in on you, once a week,
True.
or
Yes.
somebody can just see how you're doing, that's one of the hardest things. And depending on the age of the people, when I'm at a funeral, that's what I always think about. I'm like, okay, I look around, I see the family, and I'm like, who's going to be there for them?
Yeah.
That one person that is probably affected the most by what's going on, who's going to step up and kind of be there for them, make sure they're eating, make sure that they're good.
They're taking care of themselves.
Yeah, because like I said,
I
that
feel
first
like
week, everybody's there for
build
you.
some kind of resentment in a way, because it's like everybody else goes on with their life, but you can't.
Yeah.
And you kind of resent people for that. And it's like, how can y'all just go on with your life when this happened?
When
how
I just
can
lost
you
my
do that?
girl.
Right. How can you do this?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think you start to build a little bit of resentment, but it's like you got to process that that's your grief. That's your story.
And that's why it's so important I think that's why it's so important to deal with grief, whether it be with a counselor or, talking to somebody, or, I don't know, self-help books. There's so much stuff online, but some of it's dangerous, some of it's good. But somehow to try to work through some of that, because I think that's that crazy undue pressure that's on you to move forward. Because then you either look at it and you go, this isn't fair. Why do they all get to move on? And then you withdraw even more. Or you go, well, I got to go. I got to get back out there because everybody's expecting me to. So this isn't right. I'm wrong. Why am I still crying? Why am I still laying in the bed? Why am I, until you get through it a little bit and go, I can have a bed day, or I can have, bad bed instead of bed day. So, but I mean, you have to get to that point where, it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
But at first you feel all this pressure, because like for me, nobody asked me directly, but I knew from other people, like, when's he coming back to work?
Yeah.
Like, is he going to be here? Do we need to plan on not being here? So like, I would hear that kind of little stuff, and everybody of course means take all the time you need, but
when are you coming back?
We've already been back at work for a month. What are you doing?
Right.
Are you, is this going to keep you down forever? And in your head, you're like, maybe it's my son, it's my daughter,
right.
But then also, we do leave this earth and the world goes on. So that's why people talk about something happens to you tomorrow, they'll find somebody to take your job.
They will.
It's not there. They're not going to close the company down because you stopped.
I think another big thing that people forget, though, too, is especially when you lose a child, is they have siblings. Check on the siblings.
Sure.
Check on those kids and see how they are. Because while you're checking on mom and dad, which is great, my advice would be is check on the kid.
Yeah.
They need to know that they have that support too, not just, hey, so-and-so checked on me and wanted to check on you too. In this day and age, it's shoot a text message.
Yeah.
Hey, just wanted to let you know I'm here for you. Do you need anything? Thinking about you, something. That's one thing I would say, is because kids go through it too. Like, I know, the siblings go through it.
Yeah.
Like, it's
hard.
hard.
I'm sure, Bella could tell stories at the age she is now, and she's still going to be processing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Our kids are in their early to late 20s, now 30s. And I guess 10 years after the fact, I say the word interesting. It's not really interesting because it's tragedy and horrible that any of them had to go through it at all. But taking a step back, it's interesting to see how all 5 of them dealt with it differently.
Yeah.
And different ones had different people check on them in different ways. Baylor and Gabby, that's what was so weird when Ryan passed, was they were both leaving to move and go to college. So our house went from everybody's in the house to everybody's gone except for Willa over the summer. And that was really hard for me and Stacy to just imagine and getting through. But they both, Gabby was in cheer, Baylor was in baseball. They immediately walked onto campus and had a group of people that they belonged to.
That's awesome.
And most of those people obviously knew what they went through once they met them, and they had people there to help them. Willa wakes up one day and everybody's gone, and she's the kind of person who just keeps a lot of that stuff inside. We're like, I wonder if she's dealing with it, and we try to get her to talk to people and different stuff. And we're just like, man, she seems okay, but I know she's not.
Right.
And then we'll have different times where she's talked about it and she's told us different things. And we're like, okay, she's processing it. It's just, I don't know if she had anybody to turn to.
Right.
Everybody she turned to for everything except me and Stacy moved away
right.
in a matter of a couple months. So
everybody's out of the house and gone. And
yeah.
Who does she have to deal with
you
that
think
with?
That's when you need your siblings
right.
the most.
Yeah.
And then from Bella's perspective, probably, that's her only sister.
Yeah.
So who do you bounce stuff off then? Who do you call and say, when you were a senior in high school, because I know Willa's asked the other kids, like, stuff as they were going through it. So I'd imagine Bella's natural response for a long time has got to be ask my sister about it.
Yeah.
What did you think about this? What
Yeah.
did you, like you said, prom, and that kind of stuff. I can't imagine. Like, I can't imagine losing a sibling, trying to navigate that.
Yeah.
Especially
where she was young and her sister, they were 11 years apart. So Bella really looked up to Sabrina as that big sister.
Yeah.
I knew they were close and they had a relationship, but until tragedy happened and she passed away, some of those text messages were the funniest things I've ever read in my life.
I bet.
Between sisters, because I didn't realize how often they talked constantly. Yeah. So, I mean, I knew they talked, but I didn't realize it was that much. That's
funny. Yeah, we'll go through stages where we'll talk about stuff, and I'll be like, I don't know, Stacy will say something about Baylor or something, and I'll be like, yeah, I didn't talk to him in a couple of days. Work's probably busy, and Willa's like, oh, we were snapping last night. Him and Hallie are doing this, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
I'm just like, oh,
okay.
Yeah. She's like, we've got a 300-day streak or something. So I'm like, so you talk to him every day, even though we don't. So yeah, they talk a lot. And then her not being able to has got to be, she's had to have some good friends around her and good support at home to try to navigate that, I'm sure.
She does. She's got some good friends.
Yeah.
She does.
So for you, besides, leaning on Ben and that kind of stuff, what does, healing look like for you right now, a couple of years after? What do you do besides take days off when you need to, work? I'm extremely guilty, self-proclaimed, of I buried myself in my work for the last 10 years, probably. There's probably some good parts of that. There's probably some sides that I undealt with, I guess, that I've just, said, I'll just take this on myself and I'm fine as long as I stay busy. I'm finally realizing that about myself recently. So it's kind of weird to say out loud. I've been listening to a lot more stuff and I'm like, oh man, that sounds like me.
Yeah.
I might be doing that. So it's really interesting.
Change that.
Yeah. I probably need to deal with some of that stuff instead of saying, so, I mean, what are some things that you've done over time to kind of just, take steps daily?
Bury it.
Yeah. You too, huh?
Honestly, bury it. And I've thrown myself into work because when she passed away, I changed jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've just jumped in head first and buried myself and do anything and everything I can do. But now I'm realizing I've got to stop.
Yeah.
I have to face that. And I have to learn how to get through it.
Yeah.
Instead of just burying it. And that's hard.
It's extremely hard. I mean, that's why I asked you to be on here today, because I don't know how much you're dealing with, but I've found from talking to people on here, I'm allowing myself to talk about it more.
Right.
So not greedily, but being able to talk to other people is let me open up some more. I've opened up myself a little bit to listening to other people's opinions a little bit, listening to some podcasts and stuff that talk about it, just to hear other people's takes and other people's opinions and other people's, I don't really want to say turning points because it doesn't ever really get any better, but I think at least a point where you go, what you just said, like, I probably don't need to bury it all.
Right.
I don't need to be okay with that.
I don't, and I know I don't.
Yeah. I can't fix it tomorrow, but I'm acknowledging that, maybe it would help to talk more about it than I do.
I just feel like we've had so much loss in our family.
Yeah.
Like, especially, we lost our mom in January of 24, and then Sabrina passing in March of 24.
Yeah.
That was the hardest thing for me, too, is I just wanted my mom.
Oh,
when
it's unbelievable.
I lost Sabrina, or she passed away, I'm like, I just want my mom.
Yeah. Yeah. And with both our parents,
yeah,
and Sabrina and Ryan, I tell people that those are the, those, I mean, I know you got to see Sabrina a little bit, but most of those were, hey, they're gone.
Yeah.
And that you don't get to say goodbye. You don't get time to process, like an older parent or grandparent that may be sick for a couple months. You get the chance to go, they've lived a good life. This is not what I would want, but I know I'm going to see them again.
Right.
Kind of all the normal emotions that you're talking about. But when it's sudden and you don't get any kind of explanation, any kind of
you
whatever,
get no closure.
It's so hard. And like you said, when mom passed away, it was just like talking to her one day, the next day, oh, she's gone. Like, wait, what?
Right.
You know, and Stacy still says that all the time. Stacy will just she'll just say, man, I miss your mom. Or I can't believe your mom's not here, you know, because she lived in Florida for a little while. So you get that, like, somebody's back and forth, and it just, I don't know, it doesn't seem real.
It doesn't.
You know, and,
like,
I totally get that with your kid, because I went through that with my kids. They're all different emotions, but it's weird.
It is very.
It's hard to be just like, yeah, they're gone. They got sick and we went through this, and it's really hard to process. It's really hard to just go, okay, you know, because there's just so many unresolved things, and you're just like, what about this? What about that? You'll
never
really
know
hard.
what about this and what about that, because it's just gone.
Yeah.
And you have to figure out how to navigate through. Like, your parents are there for you to help you get through things.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, how do I get through this? What am I supposed to do? I don't want to be the adult, you know. I want my mom and dad to tell me what I'm supposed to do and how I'm supposed to deal with it.
I want some feedback.
Right.
What was this like when you were going through it?
Right.
You know, Stacy talks about it a lot. You know, her mom passed away at a really young age. And Nick had some time with her when he was a little baby, but then after that, you know, and she'd just be like, when stuff happens, when you got little babies and you got little kids, there's like, everybody just calls their mom. Like, ask your mom, she'll know. What do you take for this sickness? What do you take for that?
Right.
Whatever it is, like, call your mom. I mean, now, you know, everybody's mother's ChatGTP. So just type it in there and they'll tell you what to give them. Hopefully it's right, because it's, but you do, you just want to get that feedback, you know? I mean, a dad of boys, there's stuff I just wanted to ask my dad.
Right.
And he's not there. So it's,
You ever get angry? Because they're not here.
Of course I get angry, but like, how much angry? Yeah. Boy, do I get angry. I mean, when I lost Ryan, of course, I went through what I would call a lot of the normal emotions.
Yeah.
You know, questioning.
Yep.
Questioning God, being mad at God.
Still there.
Yeah. Why did this happen?
I'm still in that stage.
Yeah. And that's okay. That's okay. Still trying to get your head around why. So I remember walking out of Vanderbilt, and we were all in that one little room in there, and I came outside to talk to Corey on the phone. And I think at that point I'd already talked to him a couple previous times and knew. And I just remember like punching a brick wall 3 times out there just out of anger. And of course that didn't help anything, but that was that just immediate anger. Like, how is this possible? This makes no sense at all. Makes no sense at all. But yeah, I wake up days where I'm just like, you know, I wake up days where I'm just like, 10 years later, I have so much more of a relationship with God that I understand that there's things happen that we don't get to know until we're there. But I still wake up and just think, I guess, I don't know if it's anger or questioning. I'm always like, but why? How can that be part of your plan?
Right.
How can me being out without my oldest son, my firstborn, how can that be part of this big plan?
Agreed.
And it just, I sit there going, I don't get it. I don't get it, and I'm trying to be deeper in my walk and figure that out. But yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. What kind of anger do you have?
I'm a lot of the same way with, Sabrina was my first baby. She made me a mom. And it's like, how could you take that?
Yeah.
How can you let me have her for 25 years and not have her anymore?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? What would be the reason? Why would you take her?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the hardest part, is that we don't get those answers.
Right.
And honestly, we don't know if we ever will. I mean, I believe in God, and I feel like I will know those answers, one day. But faith is not something that you can grab and is tangible, and you can say, here's the facts. This is exactly what happens. Because, as far as I know, there's only been one person that went to that side and came back.
Yeah.
So, we can speculate all we want, or we can, put everything in faith and go forward from there. But it's really hard, because, if there's a grand plan, and then I go way into rabbit holes when I'm not just upset about losing my kid, because I'm like, okay, well, we allow war. And we allow tsunamis, and he allows tsunamis and horrible serial killers that do crazy things to people. And like, okay, so we allow that in the world, and somehow that's going to make sense to us one day, how that would make,
Right.
be okay. And so somehow this is going to make sense. And it's more than my brain can handle.
Yeah.
I'm just like, man.
You go down those rabbit holes.
Yeah. You
just keep going more and more and more. So it.
Yeah. And me and Stacey talk about, like, we were talking about the instantaneous, like here one day and then gone. That's one of the hardest parts to deal with, because when we were on our way to Vanderbilt, we were having all these weird conversations. I mean, we're 10 years younger, kids were in the car, and Stacey's going, talk to me. And I'm just like frozen. And she's just like, whatever's going on, if he's got both arms broken, both legs broken, we'll get a hospital bed in the living room, like whatever, we'll get through this. No way in the world did we think we were going there.
Never.
And he wasn't going to be there. Just had no idea. But just that suddenness and knowing that that's it, and you don't get a chance to do anything is what's so hard to just go. Ah. And the hard part is, if somebody would have told you you're going to lose your kid in a month, what would you have done in those 30 days? I think all you do is try to find a way to prevent it from being 30 days.
I was going to say, to try to extend it.
So it's like we have this stuff in our head, but then, like, if we knew we were going to lose them, there's no good answer.
Yeah.
Because I'm never going to be ready.
I think that night with Ryan, when everybody, the whole family, everybody, different vehicles, of course, going and everything, I think that was the farthest thing from our mind.
Yeah.
Was that he was going to pass.
Yeah.
I mean, because we never really had a lot of tragedy or anything in our family.
No.
But it's like, so I think that was the furthest thing from our mind that
just didn't calculate.
Like Stacey said, if his legs are broke, his arms are broke, it's like, okay, we'll get through that, we'll figure it
Whatever
out,
it
do what we
takes.
got to do. But no, I don't think anybody that even crossed their mind.
No, I still don't know. And I've told a ton of people the story. We rushed there and we pulled up in front of the emergency room. And I said, I'm going to jump out and run in. And there's been a couple times in my life where, and Stacey's witnessed it, where she's like, I don't know how. I said, I just feel like there's a couple of times God's just let me know stuff, and I'm not sure why he wanted me to know. But I jumped out, and she said, I jumped out of the passenger seat. I started to move really fast. When I got to the front of the car, I just slowed down. And she was like, what happened? And I was like, I knew he was gone. And she's like, how? And I'm like, I don't know. And, it turned out he wasn't even at the hospital that they said they were taking him to.
Right.
And it took us a long time to figure it out. And I don't know. It was just, I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know. Like, I never anticipated that, but I just knew. There was a time with Jordan when he had Alyssa in the car, and I was downstairs. Stacey was cooking. Willow was doing something at the table. We were doing something at the table, and my phone rang, and she said, "It's Jordan." And I said, "He just had a car crash." I picked up the phone and said hello, and he said, "Everybody's okay, but we just had a wreck." And Willow just was like, and I'm like, she's like, "How did you know?" I'm like, I don't even know what brought those words.
Right.
I don't even know why I said that or why I knew that. It was just, I don't know. That's just a whole nother topic, but it's just weird how, you
just know things sometimes.
Sometimes you just feel it.
You do.
And on that topic, it's a little bit mystical and stuff, but I've always talked about people that have loss. So, Ryan does a really good job of letting us know that he's around.
Sabrina,
do you have that experience at all?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Does she mess with anything particular?
She messes with everything.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy that I'm trying to think, like, we tell funny things all the time. It's like, okay, Sabrina, you can stop now.
Yeah.
Like, the TV is one thing. We'll be in conversation, and if something comes on that reminds us of her, the TV will start doing this thing, because Bella will look at me and she's like, "Do you remember Sissy?" And I'll say, "Yeah." And then all of a sudden the TV will go, we're like, "Oh, okay. Are you here with us? Okay, we got it."
Yeah. Yeah. Ryan is very electrical for some reason. The day we came home from his funeral, if there wasn't me, Stacey, Willa, and I think maybe the other kids too, if they wouldn't have all been there, I would tell people that we are crazy. The stuff that they described.
Well, do you remember at Ryan's funeral, the "We Are the Champions"?
Yeah.
It started messing up when Jordan played it.
Yep.
So it's like, okay.
Yeah. We got home and we started having lights blinking on and off while we were downstairs. We had, lights that had no problems before. It was just like all this electrical stuff for like an hour. And that's what we were kind of like later we were like, I think he was just hanging out with us for a little while, it's just weird. But people talk about, different birds and different things that remind them of people or different, I think there's coins and different things,
Yeah.
but they also, I think there's reminders of them, but sometimes in my head, he definitely lets us know that he's still there. Or I'll have, I think it's weird right now. I'm working with a client, and his name's Nolan Ryan, which is who I named Ryan after. And I know Nolan Ryan, the pitcher for the Texas Rangers, and maybe there's a lot of people named that. But when I got the application, man, we were literally coming out of somewhere, and me and Stacey were talking about Ryan, and I was talking about who I named him after. And then I get a text message on my phone that says, loan application submitted by Nolan Ryan.
And you were
and
like,
it just like a wave of whatever, and it's just somebody that's named that. But the timing was so unique that I just thought, there's no way this is an accident.
See,
I don't care what anybody says.
That happened Tuesday to me at work. We have, work computers. You have automatic screensavers that it just rotates whatever they want you to. You can't pick your own pictures or anything because corporate does that, just the generic.
Yeah.
And Sabrina loved the Lizzie McGuire movie. That was her generation. And she always wanted to go see the Trevi Fountain in Italy. That was her all-time dream. Mm-hmm. I come to work, turn my computer on, and it's the Trevi Fountain. And I'm like, what are the odds of that happening? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I got it. You're with me. Let's go. Let's do this. And I actually have a pair of earrings that I wear every day to work. Mm-hmm. And they were the ones that were in Sabrina's ears when she passed.
Wow.
If I don't wear those earrings, she lets me know that she's mad and that she's pissed off at me. Every time it's a bad day and something always happens.
Yeah.
It can just catastrophe at work.
Wow.
Like the inspectors come or, this happens every time. So I'm like, okay, I make sure I wear my earrings every day.
Got you. Got your back. So if there's people out there listening that maybe have not talked to you about Sabrina because they're scared to, or they don't know what to say or whatever, and if people that didn't know her, what's one or two of the biggest things you want people to remember about her when they think about her?
Loving.
Yeah.
And her smile.
Those are great ones.
She had the best smile.
Yeah.
She would light up a room with that smile.
That's awesome. That is really awesome.
And don't be afraid to talk about her. Somebody wants to talk about
her,
that
a little bit.
Tell me that story. I mean, even if it's embarrassing and funny and you're going to be like, oh, I still want to hear it. I always want to hear it.
Yeah. I've tried to express that to people so much. Like I know when Ryan first passed, we would go to Christmas or whatever. I think we did stuff at Allison's house for a while at Christmas. Yeah. And Stacey would say do we ask Jamie about it? Do we not ask him about it? Do we bring it up? Do we not? And now I'm just like, bring up everything.
Yes.
We want to hear everything.
Every picture, every story. Like that's what I've had a couple of people that she knew throughout her life reach out and send me pictures. And it's like, never would have had that picture.
Yeah.
Tell the story, send the pictures, talk to us about it, because that's how we know they're still with us.
Absolutely. We want to hear their name.
Yes.
If you say their name, we're not going to be like, oh, we're already thinking about it.
Yeah. I'm going to cry every time because I'm a crier.
Their name's on our brain.
I still want you to.
Yeah. Their name's already there.
Right.
You bringing it up just makes us feel good about it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. Like I said, one of Ryan's best friends, we got together, I don't know, a couple weeks after, and I'd given them a couple things to hang on to. And Tim had said, he was like, man, Ryan was the best friend I ever had, and there's nothing that he wouldn't do for me, and I know that. But he was like, some days he was a real asshole.
Yeah.
He was like, he just really was. I'm just going to be honest. Like he pissed me off. He's like, but I loved him more than anyone I'll probably ever love. So every story's not great. People have every side of them, but I want to hear them. And then I hear stories from people, like a message on Facebook that somebody told me, they, it was their first day of school. Nobody would talk to them. And Ryan came over and just talked to them and laughed with them. And little things like that I'm like, wow, I never heard that story, or, and part of the reason to do this is after we got started doing this, I had a kid from Ryan's class reach out and say, hey, Mr. Stillman, I just wanted to reach out to you. I know it's been a long time, 9 years, but I didn't go to Ryan's funeral, and I felt bad ever since then for 9 years. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why are you carrying something like this with you? And he said, he saw me doing videos and stuff and just wanted me to know how much Ryan meant to him and that he always regretted going. And I was like, you don't have to apologize for anything. And that's why it's so important to talk. Don't keep stuff bottled up. Talk to people. Let people know stuff. I mean, those kind of things are amazing, and things you may not even know. I had one of Ryan's friends had a kid the other day, and named their son Jacob, and said, texted me and said something like, "May Jacob Ryan live forever," and I was just like, and people could do that and never tell you.
But also, what people don't understand is that helps heal a small part of you. And I don't. For me, it does, and I don't know why, but it does.
It does.
When people tell you those little things and those little stories, and to let you know that they're still in their thoughts.
Yep.
It does help heal a piece of you.
Yeah, because even if they're not thinking about your loved one every day, every moment like you are, you know that they're being remembered.
Right.
And
that's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it is.
Just knowing that the world didn't forget about them.
Right. And every time you give somebody some advice or tell them what you're feeling, you're doing something great. And when we do the blood drive, we do that to save lives, because Ryan wouldn't have had life without having donated blood. But also for our family, we love getting together and getting to hear stories and talk. And, like last year at the blood drive, we talked about Sabrina, and we talked about what they would be doing and how much, good Lord, imagine trying to keep a blood drive, an organized event around, like together with Ryan and Sabrina in the same room.
No.
It would be crazy.
For sure.
Just talking about that, like what they would be doing, how they would be doing it. So it's really cool. But love hearing their stories and stuff that they have going on, and just it's really cool.
Because it is, as a parent, for me, it helps heal part of me.
So I was just going to ask you, not just like how you would want people to remember her, but like, trying to think of the right way to say it, but I mean, like, you obviously have your private thoughts with Sabrina, and is there anything that you would tell somebody if they happen to be on that end of having to deal with losing a child? Anything that you would tell them that was really important to you that you wish they knew?
Lose the guilt. Lose the guilt over that argument that you had with them, that text message you didn't send, the phone call you didn't make because you were working or something happened. It's okay. Lose that guilt.
Yeah. That's really, really great advice. I mean, I think one of the hardest parts for people to understand is, like we were talking about before, just being there.
Right.
And sometimes you just need to be there so that when that person needs somebody or that person reaches out, they may think of something that they want to talk to you about by just you being there.
Right.
You may not be able to go in and trigger them and say, hey, have you thought about this?
Right.
But if you're there, they may go, can I ask you? It's just like that presence of being able to say, like, I'm here if you need something.
Yeah.
Because like we talked about before, a week after, everybody's gone.
Yeah.
They're gone. And that's how you start to feel it. Like you said, you sink in and you're like, there's nobody here for me to talk to anything about. What do I do now?
Right.
There's literally nobody here. So if you can check back in, it just opens up that door.
It does, very
for
much.
somebody to go, man, they really do care.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can just ask them. And that's what I talk about on here. It's like, maybe we can't fix it for you, but maybe we can find the person that can help you.
Or it's just to know that you're not going through it alone.
Yeah.
That you're not, like, because you feel like you're completely alone. Even I did. Even with been there and everything, it's like, but I still felt alone.
Yeah.
Because your pain's different than mine.
Mm-hmm.
You can empathize and you can feel sympathy, but it's completely different.
Yeah. Yeah. And depending on the relationship, like Stacy for a long time used to always tell me, like, I felt like I could never deal with my grief with Ryan because I had to be there for you.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's your little boy. That's your baby boy. Like, he was in my life. It was in my life 12 years, she would say, or whatever, but, or since he was 12. But you held him the moment he was born.
Right.
Like, I can't comprehend what your grief must be like. So she pushed all her grief to the side in her head and never dealt with it. So then years later, she had to try to figure out how to do it. So everybody's got all this stuff, but we need each other.
Yeah, we do, for sure.
We need each other. And that's, like I say, I'm not an expert, but I mean, I'll reach out to people. If you're comfortable talking to a Christian-based place, I know where I can reach out to. If you're comfortable talking to a secular person, we'll reach out and find somebody
Right.
for that. If you want somebody just to yell at and listen to your story, I know plenty of people like myself that'll do that. I'm crazy enough to listen. You're crazy enough to listen. So yeah, I mean, that's what's so important is just don't leave people out there. And I think that's with everything, with whatever kind of grief you're going through. Definitely let people know that they're not alone, and that there's somebody that will listen to what they want to talk about.
And one thing is people say, well, the phone works both ways. Maybe sometimes they can't
Yeah.
reach out. They just can't bring themselves to do it. It's like, just check on them. Just, how are you?
And that's one of the hardest things. I think I've learned more and more. I don't want to say I'm getting old, but
You're getting old.
I'm getting old. You can say that because you're younger than me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Always will be.
Forever and ever. But yeah, I think as I get a little bit older, I get out of that mentality, because I used to be like, well, they never check on me, really easily. And it's just like, everybody has their own stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe it slipped their mind. Maybe they've got so much going on. Maybe they're scared, like you said.
Yeah.
Maybe. And then once there's that awkward feeling in the world when so much time passes by, then you feel like you really can't reach out.
Yeah.
Because, oh man, I haven't checked on them in forever, so now I sure can't.
Well, my big thing is you never know where they are in life.
Right.
That reach out may have a huge impact or save somebody who is from anywhere in their life that they're going through. They may just need somebody to reach out to them.
Yep. And you never know, like you may be calling just to say, hey, how you doing? And that might be the time they need something the most.
Yeah.
Like you said,
Exactly.
you might have catch them at the perfect time.
Yeah.
I'm always so thrilled when I just randomly reach out to clients that I really liked. Like I did that last night.
Yeah.
There's Leah, I just called to check on her. We talked for about 10 minutes, nothing to do with business. She's trying to sell a home in Dallas. But she moved here and she wants her kids to move here as well. And just a quick conversation. I got off the phone and I was like, man, I'm so glad I called her.
Yeah.
And I just called because we had missed each other on something that wasn't important. And she had texted me and said, don't worry about it. I looked, I'm ashamed to say this if she sees this, but it was late March. And she's like, oh, just call me. I wanted to tell you this. And I'm like, okay, gotcha. But she told me what she needed. So I just I'll call her later. And I was going through some notes and I was like, I never called her.
Oh my gosh.
It's been 2 months. I'm like, so part of me is like, just cross out that note and move on to the next thing, because she's not going to need to talk to me. But something just said, just call and say hi, see how she's doing. And I said, hey, remember me, the guy was supposed to call you back 2 years ago? It was really 2 months. And then we just started talking, and it's like screaming in my mind while you were saying that. Like at that time, I don't think she was going through anything, but she might have felt like nobody cared, or that might happen to somebody.
Right.
Nobody cares about me at all. And just a quick reach out might totally change their day, their month, whatever, and just feel like people do care.
Yeah.
Didn't call me to sell me anything.
Right.
Didn't call me to just said, hey, how are you doing?
You
How are
don't
the
want
grandkids?
anything.
Yeah.
Just to say hi.
Just being there
Yeah.
is what that's really about. And it's just,
And in this day and age, a text even.
Yeah.
It's, hey, how are you?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anything else that you want to share about your beautiful angel?
Not that I can
Because,
think of without crying again. So
Well, I didn't want to cry the whole time with you. So that's why I guess in my head I said Sabrina a whole lot instead of my niece, because I think it would make me break down, because like you said, going through the loss of Ryan and then Mom and then Sabrina. And I just, after losing Mom, you could have told me something was going to happen in our family. But again, it never would have been that.
yeah.
I just, I know when you called me and we were getting on a flight to come back here, I was just speechless for the rest of the day to even get my head around that something might be emergency wrong with her.
Right.
Never even thinking that something like that was going to happen.
I didn't either. And still, even when I called you to tell you that she's in the hospital and things don't look good, it was once I got back and talked to the doctors, and what solidified it for me was the doctor said, it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, how bad? She said, it's bad. And I said, is it call the family in bad? And she said, you need to get the family here. That's what solidified it for me in that moment.
Sure.
That was rough.
I could have never imagined sitting here today that we've gone through that and that you've had to endure that.
And you.
Well, I love you. I love your whole family, your beautiful family.
And
that
we
you've
love
created.
you too, all you guys.
And anything that we can do, or anybody out there that can ever do, we're definitely here for you. But thank you so much for.
If I can do anything for anybody, I'm always here.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. We'll miss Sabrina forever.
We will.
And we'll remember her every chance we get. At every blood drive we'll remember her. At every family thing we'll remember. And everything that comes up everywhere we will. So thank you again for sharing everything with us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Hey, guys, thank y'all for taking a few minutes to listen to us. And like Janice said, if we can do anything for you, please reach out. Let us know how we can help, just as somebody to listen to, whether it's just a question that you've got. We are here. We're community, and we love y'all. See you next time.